It is the year 1816. The world that you've grown up in is harsh. Developing in a quick pace, its industry has been growing significantly. And with most of the world being explored by the brave men and women who dare to travel further on the sea, the world has grown smaller, as the world is now known to us. War still plagues most of the countries. Especially in Europe, it's not an uncommon sight. You are the sole heir to a small fortune left by a deceased noble family. You reside in a mansion of your forefathers, alone. One day, as you search the attic for a painting that was made of your family before the accident, you find a journal from your grandfather. It is of the time when he served in the Napoleonic Wars. You decide to read his journal. You find out your grandfather served in Egypt. There he made some odd discoveries. The journal reads as follows. It is the year 1776, December the 3rd. We were marching down to the city of Cairo to resupply and rest. We've been marching for weeks now, and we're running out of water. We've already lost 5 men due to the heat. All of a sudden we were met with a sandstorm. It was threatening to see the storm of dust move closer to our position, to say the least. It was like we were going to be swallowed by the desert itself, like it was a predator, and we were its prey. Me and my comrades tried to convince our captain to find shelter, but he was determined to make it to Cairo by nightfall. Our captain, he was a fool, young and ambitious. He thought he had something to prove. Well, we did what he asked us, but I don't reckon I've ever been so frightened before. The dust covered any sunlight. It was as if it had turned night, like a thick fog was covering our sight and entering every gap it could find. And it might have been my paranoia, but I swear I heard voices whisper in an unknown tongue to me. When the sandstorm had passed, I was the only one still standing. There was no one in sight for miles. At least, no living man, nor anything in that matter. All I found were the rotting bodies of my comrades. The weird part was, it was like they had been dead for days. How could that be? Cairo was nowhere to be seen, and I strolled to the desert without purpose. I do not know for how long I walked till I stumbled upon an entrance for some sort of cave. Hoping to find shelter so I could sleep, I entered. However, I soon found out this was not a mere cave, but an ancient complex. I also soon found out that these caverns were still in use. I found this out due to the freshly wrapped cloths on the torches that were still set on the walls. At this point I had hoped I found civilization, and that I was saved. However, there was no one to be found in the caves. At least, nowhere I looked. The complex was like a maze. It was so vast that I could only explore small parts of it. However, in one of the caverns I found something that made me question my sanity. There was a pile of golden trinkets and objects just stacked there. This could not be real, I told myself. I did not dare to take anything with me, having heard the myths about cursed gold of the locals. Call me a madman, but I was too tired to think straight. When I ventured further into the complex, I heard it. Whispers coming from the corners that the light of my torch could not reach. As soon as I felt like the voices were coming closer, I ran. I ran straight into the desert, and I ran for hours and hours, until I saw Cairo in the distance. I praised God and immediately departed Egypt, hoping never having to come back. I am writing this as I have returned to my estate. If only the whispers had left me alone since that day. You close the journal. You're intrigued by the story, not by the horrors, but by the gold that could be found and the archaeological value this complex could have. You finally found a way to contribute to society once again. And that is where our story shall begin. Who has dared to enter my chambers without my permission? And what creature would be so foolish to awaken me from my slumber? You heathen shall be punished, for you have defiled sacred ground. You cannot run, nor can you hide like an insect. I will find you soon. Frightened by the work of a god, pathetic. You are nothing but an insect. You dare to defile the grave of a god. You dare to enter my chambers. You are nothing, and I shall make certain it shall stay that way. I will make you bleed. Now my sight has returned to me, and I can see you. Hiding won't work. I am going to make you bleed. Do not struggle. It will only make matters worse for you. Now, it is time to please the gods with blood. Rebekah, Horus, Seth, Osiris, Ptah, Ras, Tot, Amon, Ptah, Aton, Rebekah, Horus, Seth, Osiris, Ptah, Ras, Tot, Osiris, Ptah, Aton, Tot, Amon, Num, Aton. And that is where our story truly begins.